high noon. Feels like it was just summer in June. One day you're young and it just begins. Next day you blink and you're looking back. And I burned out miles to outrun time, but it never slowed down like I tried. Life ain't promised and it sure ain't long, so I hold on tight and keep moving on. I'm making the most of the time I've got, 'cause the clock keeps ticking no matter what. Yeah, the good days fly and the hard ones hit, but I ain't wasting one damn bit. If the road runs short, then I'll run fast. If the years go quick, I'll make them last. I ain't built to break or sit and ride. I'm making the most of the time I got. You blink once and life passes by, 'cause they keep waiting on the perfect time. But perfect's just a word folks love to chase, while real life happens right in their face. I lost friends young, watched good ones fade. Makes you think twice about the choices you've made. So I live full speed, but I live it right. I've learned damn well you don't get rewrites.
I'm making the most of the time I got, 'cause the clock keeps ticking no matter what. Yeah, the good days fly and the hard ones hit, but I ain't wasting one damn bit. If the road runs short, then I'll run fast. If the years go quick, I'll make them last. I ain't built to break or sit or rot. I'm making the most of the time I got. Great song, The Time I Got by Kane Walker. Okay, Sunday, January 18th, in the morning, sitting in the garage with Miss Kara. Say hey, Miss Kara.
Good morning, everyone.
Kara asked me what the topic's going to be. I didn't really tell her, but we're going to discuss this here in just a second, close and dear to my heart. We got finished with our excellent adventure to California. Met some friends out in California, talked to them about podcasts and such, and believe it or not, our Weaverville, California is the leading downloads for this past 2 weeks. And I'm pretty impressive. Boise, Idaho come in second. Cody, Wyoming was third. Another one I'm proud of is Singapore was fourth. And Tuttle, Oklahoma was fifth as far as the...
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, that's quite a gamut of downloads, and that's pretty cool that have people in Singapore and, the folks in Weaverville, California that's listening. If you listen to this one and want to share it, go on my Facebook page, Robert Simonton, Norman, Oklahoma. You should be able to pick me up. And I usually broadcast the podcast once a week on Monday mornings. So happen to like it, share it with some of your friends. One thing I was going to ask Kara about is you got any New Year's resolutions this year?
No.
No?
I don't do New Year's resolutions.
Okay, and that's fine. I've made 2 or 3 and goals, and I hope I can stick to them. I'd like to lose some more weight this new year, 2026. Exercise more, stay in better shape. I've been doing it since we got back from our vacation, doing some, what do you call it, kind of a yoga, chair yoga, and I really enjoy doing that. It hadn't been too stressful, but I haven't been doing it too much because I don't want to get frustrated at the first, and hope I'll work my way up and do a little bit more. And I definitely need to lose some weight, and I'm working on that. One of the things that's really...
I'm always trying to lose weight.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gained and lost 1,000 pounds probably, but I need to be better health. But one of the things that I want to talk about, it's really close to my heart and Kara's, is autism in adults. It used to be called Asperger syndrome, but it's classified as an autism spectrum disorder. I want to read a little bit, and Kara, anytime you see something that you want to interject, speak up.
Will do.
Autism in adults may present with different symptoms than in children. Autism symptoms in adults may include difficulty making conversations, social anxiety, and limited interest in only a few activities. Autism spectrum disorder is one of the most common neurodevelopment disorders, and like I said, that used to be called Asperger syndrome. In most cases, autistic people receive a diagnosis in childhood, usually after the age of 4 years. However, some autistic adults are not diagnosed in childhood, even if their symptoms are more severe. For an autistic person who does not receive a diagnosis in childhood, receiving an autistic spectrum disorder diagnosis later in life may be helpful for many reasons. In particular, it can provide better access to services and support. Hold on just a second.
Okay, however, many adults learn to live with the symptoms, and this can make diagnosis difficult. There may be some similarities between ASD and other disorders such as attention deficit hyperactivity, which is ADHD, but the signs and symptoms of ASD vary from person to person. Autistic people may find some aspects of communication and social interaction challenging. They may have difficulty relating to people and understanding their emotions. Some of this may include difficulty making conversation, difficulty making or maintaining close friendships, discomfort during eye contact, difficulty understanding sarcasm or idioms, lack of inflection when speaking, problems reading the emotions of others, challenges with regulating emotions, and social anxiety. Bob shows very few of these. Very conversational. He's very particular about his friendships, but he has several friends that he's very close with. He can make eye contact easily. He understands sarcasm and idioms without a doubt. We both do. But some of these others are much more severe. Bob is not in that spectrum whatsoever of some of these. Autistic adults may have inflexible thought patterns and behaviors and may carry out repetitive actions, making involuntary noises such as repetitive throat clearing, having a reliance on daily routines and difficulty dealing with change. Experience the need to arrange items in a I hate that word, specific order. I never can get it right. So I'm going to comment on that as well. Bob does not like his routine to be disturbed at all. He likes his things in his order and his way and does not like it when I move them. And I sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing it because I might just clean up. And all of a sudden he's like, where's my stuff? And it's aggravating for him. He does not do involuntary noises. Bob is a very normal human being. There's no twitches. There's no, like I said, the clearing of the throat or, some repetitive actions, maybe of pulling an ear or anything like that. He's not at all. Most people would have absolutely no idea that Bob has any of this. He does not like change. Autistic people may have an intense interest in one particular topic. They might also talk about the topic they love frequently and for a long time, which includes have a limited interest in only a few activities, have a preference for solitary activities, have superior abilities in particular fields, such as mathematics, excel in certain subjects including math, art, science, or music, be strong auditory or visual learners, be able to learn things in detail, and be able to remember information for a very long time. I will say a lot of these apply to Bob because he is very intelligent. One of the most intelligent people I've ever met. That's why he was so good in his field, his job with the oil field. Lovingly, people have talked to him and referred to him as Rain Man because the way his brain is just fascinating. But he takes that as a compliment now that he knows the different things that go on in his head. Autistic adults may have hypersensitivity to sensory stimulation, such as sounds or smells that do not seem to bother others, or bright light. When there's a lot of activity going on, you'll notice that Bob gets very quiet. Everything starts getting jumbled. Everything around him, the sensory, is just a bit too much. There's a reason we probably don't attend concerts anymore and large venue activities. It's just a bit overbearing. And I have to say, as I've grown older, I agree with that. There's just some things that we don't like to involve ourselves in anymore. And some of that is due to the way he can't enjoy it. He gets overstimulated. The symptoms of ASD can differ across sexes. There's some research done in 2020 states that some females may seem able to cope better with social situations compared to males, as their symptoms may be more subtle and masked. Masking means that a person has adapted their behavior to suppress signs of autism in social situations. They have also developed living and communication skills, allowing them to live independently. This can make it more challenging to diagnose ASD. Autistic females may be quieter, hide their feelings, show fewer signs of repetitive behaviors. Seeking a diagnosis of ASD as an adult can be challenging for several reasons. People who do not receive a diagnosis in their younger years may have milder symptoms, which can be more difficult to recognize. At times, such people never even get a diagnosis. If people have been living with ASD for some time, they may be better at masking the signs and symptoms. Research shows that one of the common diagnostic tests for autism in adulthood, the ADOS-2, may be fairly reliable. However, a doctor needs to recognize a person's symptoms to refer them to this testing. Personally, I don't see that Bob needs any of that. He has, without a diagnosis, his entire life. I'm no doctor by any means, but with all of my education in special ed, I was able to recognize these signs, and Bob to learn more about it and recognize that what's going on in his head is normal for him. It may not be normal for me, you, or anybody else, but in his head, it's a challenge sometimes. There is diagnoses, as it says, that you can go and see a doctor and check into all that if you're of interest. If you've never been able to build relationships and you're living alone and you hear this and you're like, man, I never really thought about that. That would be something for you to maybe go find a physician that you'd want to if you're wanting to delve into. In our household, it's not necessary. Let's see where we want to go from here. Let's take a time out.
Okay, once Kara kind of suspected I had the Asperger's syndrome or the autism spectrum disorder, I went online and did a self-assessment test for adults. I did 2 or 3 of them. A person can find these tests online. While they cannot give a diagnosis, the tests are a good starting point. And I took like 3 different separate tests, and I was in the 98th percentile. Kara pretty much figured out, had been dealing with adulthood, childhood.
Yeah, Bob dealt with this his entire life and had no earthly idea. Never really even thought about it. It wasn't something where he grew up that people entertained. You just got up, go do your thing, go to work, buck up, basically. This isn't that there's something wrong with Bob. It's just you have to love him as he is and understand his brain, but also, give him boundaries as well, because he does need to learn to adapt, to understand and calm himself.
Benefits of diagnosis. Not every undiagnosed autistic adult may want or need diagnosis. It is important to respect the needs and preference of that individual. For those who prefer it, a diagnosis may offer several advantages. It may provide an example for the challenges an autistic individual may be experiencing. It may give family members, friends, and colleagues a better understanding. It may open access to services and benefits, including in the workplace and education environment. There you go.
Living with ASD may be hard for some autistic adults. They may experience challenges with social interactions, get fixated on routines, or experience sensitivities to light or sound. Many of the same symptoms that appear in autistic children also exist in adults. However, adults experiencing these symptoms may find it difficult to live independent, day-to-day lives as a result. Some autistic adults experience high intelligence, strong memory, an ability to think outside the box, and strong knowledge in particular areas. Other traits can include being observant, resilient, and having a strong sense of fairness and justice. As we're going through this, that paragraph is Bob. I mean, he holds all those basic, beautiful characteristics of his personality. When people get to know him and they become friends with him, they understand him more, and that makes it easy for us to keep our circle small. Everyone finds him he's so smart. I just keep saying that, and it's not necessary. He's funny, caring. Other side of this topic, I mean, I can say all the beautiful things, but whenever he goes through an episode, it's like his brain has to finish it out.
Well, that's a quick rundown on the Asperger syndrome, autism spectrum disorder that Karen and I deal with. I deal with it every day. Things go haywire. She gets deal with it also. I work on it every day, but once it gets to a level that goes overboard, it's hard to control my emotions. Once it's over, I settle down, I recognize it, and try to do better. That's one of my goals, to make autism awareness, lose a little weight, do a little more exercising. Kind of on the side note, end up on a kind of a happier note is Miss Kara's going to get her first Social Security retirement check on Wednesday. We're looking forward to doing that. She's getting her teacher's retirement. I think she got that in for the last 3 months, so pretty cool to work. whole life and reaping some of the benefits from the government for the service that we did for them in the education system, and I did it in the oil field system for right at 50 years. If you enjoyed this, share it. If you know somebody that has symptoms of autism, share it. I know what you're dealing with. Thank you guys. Love you.
Thank you.